Today we're going to be running through Access Education budgets for local authority maintained schools. To gain access, you first need to log in using any web browser to Access Workspace. Access Workspace will show you key pieces of information from all your products and tie them all together on one dashboard. So here I can see any key notices, any favorite sites. I can launch into any integrated products and I can view any report favorites or key information. To launch into any of my products, I select the 9-dot menu in the top left. I can then click into Access Education budgets, then select my school, select the budget year that I want to see. Here I can then see all of my working budget scenarios. You can create as many working budget scenarios as you need, and these are hypothetical budgets that aren't going to impact your actual figures. They're what-if planning, essentially. When it comes to budget setting season, I've got the ability to publish and lock down my budget. And once that budget is locked and signed off, it can be copied. You can make changes to it in a scenario and republish it if you need to reforecast. You've also got the ability to access this school menu here, which will show you all of your budget assumptions, such as your job types, year groups, funding headings, budget profiles, but also store assumptions, such as your pay adjustment rules. So if you ever need to assign maternity to anyone, you can just go through and select the pay adjustment rule, such as this maternity rule, and assign it to the staff contract. Within the budget itself, once you launch into it, it will take you to your main budget dashboard. You'll notice that all the forecasting is done over 5 years, and you can see your income and expenditure, your cumulative brought forward balances, your pupil versus teacher costs, staff analysis, and your forecast balances over 5 years. You've also got a helpful budget toolbar, which will show you your forecast balances at any point. It will also show you your income and expenditure. And it will show you your KPIs alongside that over 5 years. Within the budget itself, you've got the ability to go through and control data settings. We will monitor all the pay-related factors for you, apart from the support staff pension rate, and we will notify you of any changes that are rolled out. You've also got the ability to store all of your pay scales, so you could go through, look at the teacher pay scale, look at someone on the main pay scale, and the system will assume that anyone that starts from the main scale point 1 will then go to point 2, point 3, and so on. And you could control the pay scale over 5 years. You can change the pay scale details and set any inflation over 5 years. We've also got the ability to record all of your inflation rates in the system, which means you can change an inflation rate on any income or expenditure. So if I went to expenditure and I went to my energy here, I could say that this energy rule is going to increase by 3% this year, and then 3% onwards, and then 4% from that point on. I can save that and apply that to any of the coding that sits alongside energy. To build the budget, you work in this budget planning screen. You can roll forward your budget year on year, and the first thing you can enter is your brought forward balances with any notes against any of the budget lines. You can then calculate your pupil income, and the system will actually store all of your age-weighted pupil funding figures year on year with the correct inflation set against them. It will then calculate the number of pupils that you have in any given year by that age-weighted pupil funding figure. So if I were to say that we had 70 pupils in this year, I hit tab, we can then see that 70 have gone to year 2, year 3, year 4 and onwards. And it will then multiply that relevant age-weighted pupil funding figure and update your funding statement as a result. You've then got the ability to build in the rest of your Section 251 local authority funding. You can see all of the funding headings and drill into them to change the funding heading within the group. All you need to do is double-click into year 1, enter in the figure, and it will then assume years 2, 3, 4 and 5 based on the inflation rate that has been set. You'll also notice that you can see the account coding that sits against any of these lines, and that integrates directly with Access Education Finance. You have a monthly profile view, so you could split out the income or expenditure over a given profile across the 12-month period. You also have the ability to record any non-local authority income and any other expenditure as well. There's a full staffing expenditure section within the budget planning area of the system where we can see our full staff list and therefore our full staffing expenditure. I can see my staffing totals along the bottom over 5 years split by salary, national insurance and pension. I can view this yearly and monthly. Within the staff list, I can put notes against any contract. I can search for any contract, and I could go through and copy that contract, delete it, and save it as a vacancy. We support multi-contracts in the system, so Elliot has both a teacher contract and an office staff contract. I can see the contract totals, the pay scale information, the assigned pension rate and any allowances. I could go through and model any pay adjustments to this contract. So I could go through and actually apply a new maternity rule to this contract. Enter the start and end date, and it will calculate the salary with the pay adjustment. Once you've built your budget, you can then report on it in a few different ways. The first thing to note is that we have the ability to import your payroll. You can see the payroll information, what was budgeted, the actual, the variance, and any notes. We also have a salary calculator in the system. You could, for example, compare the cost of 2 staff contracts in 2 years' time. Contract A is someone on a main scale 0.3, and you want to compare it with someone on a main scale 0.4. The system will then take into account all the other variables such as the inflation rate, the hours per week, and the paid weeks per year, their pension rate, and any allowances that have been assigned. When you calculate this, it will then calculate the cost of contract A with contract B. There's a whole host of reports in the system, such as all of your KPI reporting, your Section 251, CFR, income and expenditure reports, and pupil staff reports such as your staff detailed report. And some of these reports allow you to actually go through and launch a report writer, so you could go through and edit all of your selected fields. If we wanted to see our staff over 3 years, we could go through, update this, and now see the progression of our staff costs over year 1 to year 2 to year 3. All of the reports can be exported out to Excel. And that's a high-level overview of Access Education budgets for local authority-maintained schools. If you have any questions or you'd like to know more, please contact us. access.education@theaccessgroup.com.